Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
So we touched on this Monday about the unconfirmed, but it's probably going down, that Billy Dee Williams is coming back in episode 9. James talked to him personally, and that didn't happen.
No.
But if it did happen, he told him that he'd coming back for episode 9. So while we await the official confirmation on his return anyway, all reports are indicating that Billy Dee Williams will be back as Lando Calrissian in episode 9. But in what capacity? A small cameo, a sizable impact role, a weighted arc, fan service pop-in? Let's discuss what type of role we think he will have, as well as what type of role we think he should have. So guys, Lando in episode 9, what type of role do we think he will have, and what type of role do we think he should have?
Lacey, you go first. I need to gather a lot of thoughts.
I love that
on this.
I'm getting shoved off the cliff, so to speak.
Oh, that happens to me almost every week. I end up breaking the discussion.
I'm just kidding. I think Billy Dee will have a good role, but it's not going to be uber important or big. I think they're really focusing on Rey and Kylo and Finn and Poe. And I think that's what you're going to see in episode 9 is like those stories get fleshed out and kind of wrapped up. Lando's going to come in and it's more of a support role as well as like a fan servicey type thing where they're bringing back the old guys. Now that, Han, Luke, and potentially Leia aren't a part of it, they need that one more person to kind of wrap this up.
Lacey, are we gonna see a bro hug between him and Yednub?
I would love that. I would love that moment. Yeah, no, yeah. And I said this when we were talking to Roka, I would love to see, the Falcon swoop in and then the door comes down, or any ship really, and the door comes down and there's Lando and everyone's like, where the hell have you been? What's going on?
Can Chewie say that?
Chewie could say that, and he could be like, oh, sorry, buddy, I was doing whatever. I'm very interested to see, and you guys are going to get so mad. I'm very interested to see if they have any types of interaction between Lando and Kylo, only because they did interact.
Oh
there it is.
I want to see it happen. He's the last thing tying him to his former self, so to speak. But yeah, I think he'd be cool. I'd also think it'd be cool if he, kind of stuck it to Kylo and did something to mess up his plan. That'd be cool too. I just want to see what happens.
It's like, Lacey, will they have lightsabers in Rian Johnson's trilogy? You're like, well, Kylo Ren is...
yeah. Okay, you're making fun of me about this, but at the same time, Lando and Han are best friends, and Lando doesn't know Han's dead yet.
Yeah.
So they have to address that. They have to address that Ben killed Han. They have to. And Lando has to somewhat react to that.
Unless, what if they kind of pull this thing where the reason why Lando hasn't come back is because he heard about Han's death and he's like too despondent to even return to the mix.
So,
yeah, that might be.
So here's something too. JJ kind of made the mistake of the Leia Chewbacca interaction after Han's death. So it's like the characters didn't really react accordingly to a character's death. And then in Last Jedi, they didn't really fix the mistake. Luke finds out about Han's death and they cut away, and that's something they had to go back later and they had to push it in the novel and the comics. They were like, yeah, he does, or even in the deleted scenes of the movie, he does have this scene, but we didn't show it. And I don't know, do you guys think that, I think Lacey's saying she does, is that in episode 9, are we going to get an actual reaction to some of these characters' deaths from Billy Dee?
They have to have Lando, especially after Solo. They have to have Lando either say something, do something. There has to be a moment where he reacts to this. Han played such an important role in his life. They're like BFFs, and I think we were deprived that with Chewie. We really needed. I need it.
Yeah,
I need it. I can't say I need it.
I mean, I'm with you there. That was the one thing in The Force Awakens that I'll nitpick the heck out of, and I was just shocked that you had Leia breeze right past Chewie and go for Rey. But when we find out that she's actually her daughter, it'll all make sense. I'm kidding. Hey, how we doing? All right, just making sure you guys are still listening out there.
That was the sound of John losing all his followers.
We can get into what should they do later because mine's kind of similar though. I kind of think that Lando's going to end up having a one scene significance in this movie, a la Maz Kanata in Force Awakens.
You're comparing Lando Calrissian to Maz Kanata, dude?
In time span of how long they're utilized in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and he's the helping character. She's the helping character. It makes sense.
So I think we will at some point or another, kind of like how they reveal the Falcon sometimes, we might like go to a place and then we're like, oh yeah, I gotta introduce you to this guy. You watch your back or something like that. And then he turns around and we're like, oh my God, there's the reveal. There's Billy Dee Williams.
Takes the helmet off, yeah.
Do you think it's going to be an obvious, like, here's behind the curtain, it's going to be Lando? Oh, and it is Lando.
Yeah, I think they'll set him up for a reveal, and when he walks into the scene, it'll be a bright, shining moment. I think his purpose in the movie will be to convey something to Rey, in the sense of like, you're important. You're one of the people that can take this galaxy to the next place, you know? Han's gone. Luke's gone. Leia's gone, you know? And anytime you ever need my help, I'll be here for you. And then, you know, he walks out of the room and it's like, I don't know, like a moment of like, that's the other thing too, is I don't think they're going to kill him off. A lot of people have been talking about that. I think it's important that he conveys to her something very important as like a mentor to say, and if you never need anything, you know, I talked about this earlier, I used to own this ship, you know, like you should bring her by sometime and I'll have my people take a look at it. And he like walks out of the room. So
I think Chewie needs a buddy too.
Yeah. I like your idea of him giving the hug to Nine Numb though. Like a little bit more, because I think that's a closer connection. I don't know. He's pretty close to Chewie, though. Yeah.
That is beautiful fan service, though. They blew up the Death Star 2 together. Like, you can make it quick, and like people will get the Return of the Jedi feels, and it makes sense.
Nine Numb's such a random character, though. Like that whole movie, like he's like, "What do you think?" And he's like,
All right, I think I agree with you guys. I think more so on James that it's going to be a small role, and honestly, just because of Billy Dee's age, he's 81 years old.
Yeah.
We saw him recently at the Solo premiere, and I think another spot. Even though they said he has a new diet and he's training and stuff, he was using a cane, so he's not going to be too mobile. The other thing is they're starting filming at the end of this month, and he's canceling these appearances for September. So I just get this feeling that he's going to be shooting in a couple of months, not necessarily the whole time, and it's going to be a one section of the movie kind of thing. Now, his involvement may directly tie in to the void left by Leia. I know I've speculated that they may have added him into the movie because of, you know, what reaction to Episode 8. James and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and maybe even more so because of Carrie's death. Because otherwise, why no mention of him whatsoever in 7 and 8? The other thing I want to bring up from my point of view here, I know, James, you said you could see him relating to Rey. I could see him relating to Finn. And
Me too.
I think that because you have two guys who really didn't have anything to do with these rebellions and resistance, but found the importance of being involved in them later on. We saw Finn get there through Rose in Episode 8, and Lando through what happened to Han, and it threw him right into it, and he went full-fledged into it. So those two are very similar, and they can relate to each other. I don't know, not necessarily like father and son, but I could see them having a moment too, because I think Finn's going to be I think Lacey, you brought this up, he's going to be a big part of the new like war aspect leader of the Resistance, where Poe's going to be more of a commander type of thing. So that's how I see it. But ultimately,
they both dressed up into the enemy. Finn wore and then he wore the other thing in Jabba. Yeah,
that's true. But I think I'm with you that it's going to be a small role, and it almost has to be just because he's 81, man, and I don't know how big of a unless he's going to be sitting around the movie at a console the whole time, being like a new leader coming in. I can't see Lando being that, so I'm thinking it's going to be one big scene too. I'm with you actually on that one, James.
You know, it's funny. I haven't really been like super excited, but now that we're sitting and we're talking about it and we're running through all these different scenarios, I'm like, ooh, if he was doing this, that'd be so sweet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get really excited about it. I mean, I hope it's always the age old thing though. I hope it kind of lives up to the expectations of, I mean, maybe not exactly what we were thinking, but when we see it, it's beautiful and it's great, you know, and it just like really brings back the child and everybody to see that character back on the screen doing what Lando does best.
Don't you kind of feel like J.J. Abrams is good at handling that type of stuff? Like that Spielberg vibe of just like the goodness and the feels, and like I feel like he could really nail that.
Yeah.
I want Lando doing the salute to someone.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I see.
I could tell
like
you who
when
I
he's
want
walking
him to
out
do
after
it too,
talking
but
to Ray. I see him like,
myself.
you give me a call sometime.
Lacey, you want him to salute to Kylo Ren?
No, not to Kylo Ren.
Oh, God, thank God.
How did we get back on Kylo Ren?
No, I'm not going to talk about it. Ray would be good. Finn would be good. I just want to see him do the salute.
Hang on now. Who do you want him to salute? You have to say it now. Everyone out there listening. Oh, God.
She did it. She said she didn't do it, but she did it.
Live from San Diego friggin' Comic-Con. Lando Calrissian saluting to Ben Solo.
The guy who like
to Starfighter
stood around and did nothing. Like an entire system was destroyed.
But I think it would be cool to do it to Rey, though. In seriousness, I think it would be cool. Like if she's about to go to battle and he just kind of gives her that salute that he gave to Han, like that would be such a fun moment for me.
That would be very cool.
I'm with you guys on the Finn thing too. I think that could be really cool. I was trying to say, all right, well, those are our big three. How could he relate to Poe? But what's funny is I still go back to the Rey thing. I think of him saying like, hey, what do you think about that guy over there? And they kind of give you a little bit more of that hint that maybe those two will end up together. Which has kind of been teased in a couple different platforms.
Who will end up together?
Poe and Rey.
Oh, no.
Oh, because that's so outrageous, Lacey?
You're on Damaray? You're a Damaray fan?
I'm not on anything, but you can't laugh that off completely, though, right?
I'm not laughing it off. I'm laughing at the fact that he brought it up.
Well,
people can like whatever they want to like. It just caught me off guard that James brought that up.
I agree.
Yeah, I guess I'm not necessarily saying that. I think that the story clearly hints at Finn and Rey not working, but we've gotten multiple things where they've kind of hinted that Finn or Poe and Rey might, like the way they kind of interact when they're like, "Hi, I know who you are. I'm blushing," you know.
Yeah,
that's how it's written,
right.
and they have a couple interactions in the comics and stuff too, and it's definitely not just like a friendship thing. But anyway,
even though they fudged it in the
Force Awakens book,
did.
Yeah,
we talked about
they
that.
kind of changed stuff up. But again, I was trying to relate. How would Billy Dee come in and talk to Poe? What?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say real quick. Speaking of books, you could probably almost bet the farm or the Falcon or whatever you want to bet in a Sabak game that Billy Dee Williams probably doesn't even know what the novel Last Shot is. And if he has heard of it, he knows nothing about it. He's going to go into this movie like he told Donald Glover to just hit your marks, be charming, be cool, say your lines. Like he didn't go deep into the character. So he's not going to know about these Kylo and Uncle Wanwo things. And even if
you don't
JJ
think they'll
wanted to
tell him?
No,
I don't think so. I really don't.
Yeah.
He's a paid actor. He's going there to hit his marks, and that's it.
Unless they write it into the script.
There's no way he's saying like Wanwo.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like if they make some type of call out to something related to Last Shot.
It couldn't be too deep because I like 3% of Star Wars fans have read that book.
Yeah,
that's true.
I got to be honest. I don't think that the connection between, I mean, he's also kind of somewhat connected to the Aftermath series too, and I don't think that him and Ben Solo have any sort of connection that any moviegoer would ever have feelings for. You know what I mean?
Well, you have to assume that if Lando's BFFs with Han, he's gonna know Han's kid. You have to make that assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he may say, like, I don't know what happened to that kid, but he killed Han and he's dead to me now, or, something quick.
Okay,
yeah, and I'm sure
fair, but I'm saying, like, you have to assume people are going to be like, yes, they're best friends, therefore he must know.
I ain't your Wanwo no more, Starfighter.
I mean, it's kind of what they did with, like, Chewie, when Chewie shoots Kylo Ren in the stomach, and then after the fact, after the movie comes out, you have all sorts of things where people are drawing comics of, like, big Chewie holding little, Ben Solo and stuff like that. And then they get to that scene, and instead of shooting him in the head, he, like, moves it down and shoots him in the stomach. Because it's like...
Yeah, but then it came out that he used the Force to block the shot, so...
He didn't block anything. Chewie drilled him.
No, but I'm saying he used the Force to aim
Chewie
it there.
Actually fired to kill, and he, like, was able to deflect it just enough to save his life.
I actually like that little comic, James. I thought that was funny.
It is really cute.
It's very sweet.
But let's get back to Lando.
Yeah, so you were saying Lando and Poe.
Where we last left off. I was trying to say we talked pretty heavily about his relation and how he could connect with Rey. We talked about his connection and how he could relate with Finn. And I was trying to think of a way that he could relate to Finn. And I think, Poe. And I think the best way would simply be that he conveys that message yet again of Leia's not around. It's up to you to carry this place into the next being, But I don't know. I feel like that has been told so many times, Poe gets it.
Maybe they never interact. There are some characters that just don't interact.
No. I'm just trying to say, if you're bringing in a main character, or you're bringing in Lando, how is he going to relate to what we assume to be as, like, the three main characters of this trilogy? And I think that the only way Lando would be able to interact with Poe would be in a story beat that we've gotten multiple times before. So I think that you guys are right. It's either Finn or I'm right, and it's more Rey.
I just feel like Rey already she doesn't need the mentors anymore. Mm-hmm. And Lando isn't the type of mentor she needs.
Unless, I said this, she did it herself. She doesn't need anybody.
Well, if she does, it's Force stuff, not like a guy who has a cape closet and is suave and knows how to be like a leader on a gas mine. Like Lando may tell her, about the Falcon. That'd be kind of cool. But when in terms of, like, you got to be the leader of this new Jedi group, Lando's not going to be. She's going to be like, get out of here.
Yeah,
I see him more of a advice mentor to Finn than to Rey. It doesn't make sense. Rey's doing her own thing.
And Luke's going to pop back in and talk to Rey, and Yoda will probably dunk in. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like imagine Rey is having a one-on-one with Lando, and then Luke shows up like, Lando, what are you doing? You're
Don't listen to him.
Yourself. Yeah. He just shows up as a Force ghost, and he uses the Force to put Lando's cape over his face, and he's like, get out of here.
You're starting to get into how it should have ended territory.
I know, but I'm just having some fun.
No, I was also thinking too, that if they try to, if Rey is talking to Lando and the whole, like, possible relationship of, like, how she should feel about Kylo Ren ever came up, it would be funny to hear Lando's perspective on, like, well, let me tell you about a thing called love. Like, it's not always.
Wait,
what
who
you
is
think
he giving this advice to?
To Rey, if somehow she's like,
God.
how do I interact with this person? I know his true intentions, but it doesn't seem like, he's being, I don't know, if there's some sort of conversation there, he just kind of stops her and he's like, you got to follow your heart, honey. I don't know, whatever.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just trying to picture.
Rey's gonna be like, Lando, what do you think of Kylo Ren? He's gonna be like, that kid's a piece of shit.
And then Kylo Ren force bonds and is like, what?
Yeah.
Come on.
Look, I don't know where to go with this. Like, I think like the conversation between what is Kylo Ren now has happened between Luke and Leia, but it really never got conveyed to Rey. So
but James,
to
I think
have Lando,
you and I are in the same boat.
What?
We don't think he's going to have much connection to Kylo Ren in his scene in this movie. So
no, I know. I'm trying to think of like all the reasons you bring in this character. We've talked about it ad nauseum that he can't do much in the movie. He's going to be a grandfather figure. He's going to hand Rey the Werther's original, and he's going to give her a lesson. It's just like, what's the lesson? And if it's not like, you got to step up and be the leader of this galaxy, then the only other possibility I could think is like Billy Dee being suave Billy Dee about relationships and stuff, like how he interacts with women and stuff. Let me tell you about a thing that I know, about women.
Or what if they go serious with Lando, where he's like, things haven't been as good for him since the end of the Empire or something, and now he's like an old man, like kind of like how Luke got his version of being lost and stuff. Like maybe Lando kind of was a forgotten hero, like the forgotten hero. Like, oh, Calrissian, that guy's full of crap. He didn't blow up the Death
Lando
Star.
Putting his hand on the Millennium Falcon wall and just being like, "Hey, girl," like.
Yeah, that's the thing, John, is I think that if your argument is that they brought in Billy Dee after Backlash to Last Jedi, I think that they bring him in to be a positive I'm just role.
Exploring all the possible
I understand
ways they can do it. Because, I mean, I'm not saying Billy Dee is... I don't know how he's been doing with acting. He hasn't really done that much in a long time. But if JJ doesn't want it to just be it's JJ Abrams bringing in Lando,
glorified cameo role.
Yeah, then maybe instead of him being a big impact to the plot, he kind of gives you a little perspective on like, well, I know I can't offer much anymore, and this is what has happened to me since the Empire fell. It's not always great, but I do believe in this, and I do think you guys are doing this, and then he just kind of goes off, and we give the salute in one way or another.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the conversation I hear with Rey. It's not always always easy.
Okay.
Sometimes it's hard, but it's up to you now to lead these people into something. And if you ever need to fix up the Falcon, bring her by the shop,
See, I think it's going to be Finn and probably Poe and not Rey, but
gosh, man, no one's buying in on my Rey theory.
No, he's gonna tell her something quick about the Falcon,
or about Kylo Ren.
He's gonna have this big pivotal moment with Finn, and then he's gonna get off, and he's gonna be like, "You take care of my ship." To Rey, like she's like, "Who was that?"
Yeah, exactly. Rey's like, "Who the hell is that?"
What if Lando finds out about Han and becomes distraught or something? And
Could
then
be.
Rey is the person
I kind of
to
forgot
comfort
about
him.
that element. Yeah, that I said it's important that we have him actually react to these characters' deaths. Oh man!
Like, what if Rey's the one to comfort him, in the sense of like she's like maybe he reacts like very angry, and she's just kind of like, I understand what you feel. Like I went through this type thing, like she did in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Why are you guys smiling?
I'm laughing because she doesn't know who Lando is, so I picture. That's like, I know who he is, so it's like he's my grandpa, and I'm watching a stranger console my grandpa. I'm like, I should be doing that.
Right.
I know who he is. She doesn't know who he is. She's like, okay, old man, stop crying now.
But what if Chewie, like, explains who she is? Like, he's like, and she's like, oh. And then she goes and consoles, because that's who her character is. Rey is someone that's always the person to step up
Lacey,
and help.
I think Rey is going to be Luke Skywalker style and on a one-woman mission in this movie.
She's
going to be
so?
Yes. She's going to be there's going to be a part in the first half of the movie where she's with everybody because we need them all together because they haven't been all together this whole trilogy, really, except her and Finn. Yeah. And we already heard her and Finn are going to be back together in this movie. They talked about that. Mm-hmm. But second half, final act, she's going Luke Skywalker, Return of the Jedi style on her own, and the rest of the Resistance is doing their thing.
Right, I'm saying this could happen in the beginning of the movie when Lando shows up.
So you think Lando's showing up at the beginning? Okay.
I think so. Maybe like right before the middle.
I mean, that does fall in line with your theory that it's going to be like a funeral for Leia thing and he shows up there, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was funny. I pictured a few minutes ago that Chewie's telling Rey about who Lando is, and she goes, wait, he was on the mission where they did the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs, and he walks in and goes, 12. 14.
I love how everyone always thinks Chewie's giving people deep conversations.
Yeah. That's
whenever
why I
people
was
talk
making
to
fun
him,
of the
he's like,
growl earlier.
"Ah."
Like, what if Chewie explains to Rey who he is? And I'm like, yeah. It's like a scene from the Peanuts or something.
Yeah. Wait, what, Chewie? We're out of Chex Mix?
Yeah.
The
it turns
guests
into
are
a
coming
Flipper
over?
episode.
Yeah. You don't remember those commercials, Lacey? Those old Chex Mix commercials with the peanuts?
Oh, gosh.
Well,
You really
look.
are going to be a great dad.
Back in my day, we watched Chex Mix commercials, and we loved it.
Yeah.
Back
the only
in my
entertainment
day,
on
Luke
TV.
Skywalker was a hero.
Yeah. He still is a hero, Lacey.
I'm joking. It's a joke.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so
joke
to
sometimes.
run it down then, I personally think that, because I guess we kind of gotten a little nutty here, which is all good. I think Lando's going to have a small role, but I think it's going to be important. I don't think it's just going to be a wave of the cape type of thing, but he won't be in for the long haul, but it will be a meaningful cameo, because they wouldn't bring 81-year-old Billy Dee back and make him train on a new diet and all this stuff just to be like, hey, everybody, okay, see ya.
They use CG to like just make him a little bit thinner, just for like his one walk-on role or something.
Yeah, that's
like
it.
instead of
Yeah.
having to have him on a diet.
And they have him use a green cane so they can wipe it out with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
So
just
his hand just holding up. Yeah.
holding up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I'm with.
What are your guys' thoughts?
I'm
Yeah.
with you 100%. I think, a sizable moment in the movie. He makes his appearance and we're all brought back to the great Lando character. He says some things that we're all like, dang, man, that's deep. And then he walks off into the sunset, if you will. I think that's the best thing that they can do for him. We talked about, our thing was what will they do and what they should do. And I think that is what they should do. I think that's what they will. I think that's what they should.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. I think that's what's going to happen. With what I would like to see would be his reaction to Han's death. I really want that.
Mm-hmm.
And Leia, if she dies, which I think she will. I mean, and Luke
God,
too.
I'm not even
Yeah.
ready for any of that either. Like that just made me get a little emotional.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Again,
God.
I'll
I
say
think
it.
that they need
Han's
to deal
gone,
with it, but
Leia's gone, Luke's gone. It's up to you now.
Mm. Yeah,
Maybe.
that's gonna be a big theme of that. Like Luke's last speech you were saying before, James, at the end of Last Jedi. It's handing over the torch.
I think John really is getting emotional.
I did get emotional for a second. I'm not gonna lie.
He's like,
But-
it's just like handing over the torch, man.
Listen,
John,
okay.
pull yourself together. If I could virtually slap you, I would right now. I'd be like, get it together.
All right. Well, you know what? Whatever. So that's pretty much it. That's our conversation. That's our thoughts. We all kind of agreed, which is rare, but cool to do once in a while.
John, we're agreeing on everything tonight,
I know.
with
I know.
the exception of the salute from Lando.
Yeah.
Right.
Dear God.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think. Is Lando going to have a big role, small role? Is it going to be meaningful or more of a fan service cameo? Is Lando going to live, going to die? Are you happy that Lando is coming back from Billy Dee Williams?
Hey everyone, thanks for watching that video. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and head over to the full episode by clicking this box here. If you want, you can subscribe, and that way you get all the weekly news, you get our discussions, you get information on our giveaways whenever we do them. It's a good time, we promise. Thanks for watching the Resistance broadcast.